Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a major win. It's incredible news. The United States Supreme Court on June 29, 2023, has effectively ended affirmative action. That means that publicly funded universities and colleges can no longer make a determination on enrollment based on the color of skin. Now, you may be asking, well, wait a minute. You mean that college admissions were judging people based on the color of their skin to get into their school? Well, yes. Yes, they were. Now, you may also be asking, how the fuck could that possibly happen? Don't we have civil rights laws? Aren't there things that prevent discrimination? Well, yes, but you're forgetting one thing: the hubris and arrogance and outright racism of the modern liberal, leftist, leftoid, commie, shitbag, scumbag, corrupt, detestable, demonic motherfucker. These people framed their racism and bigotry and discrimination as though it were noble, altruistic, that they were helping, and this is, I'm not kidding you, and we're going to go over this, that they were helping black people because genuinely, to their heart and soul, these demonic leftoids believe that black people just can't do it on their own. I I shit you not. They believe that without affirmative action, without people from these groups and these institutions and these bureaucratic bubbles, without them, black people just couldn't do it. They couldn't succeed. They couldn't hang, which is insulting, racist, idiotic, wrong. I mean, just everything that you could possibly get wrong, they get wrong in this while thinking that they're good people. And it goes to show you that people on the left are fucking evil. It's not about misunderstanding. It's not about, oh, well, they thought this. No, people on the left are evil. The way that they behave, the way that they engage the world, the way they lie, manipulate, the way they treat other people like shit, I cannot possibly convey to you how accurate it is. The idea of the racist liberal, or the racist leftist, or whatever you want to call it. You have people that believe that black people are inherently inferior. And now, people are using this person as an example of, oh, this person can't possibly be real. This person can't be real because, I mean, what she said was so egregious and so heinous, and it can't be true. Some of the stuff that she was saying can't be true. There's no way. There's no way that she would outright say. There's no way that she would outright say that black people are incapable of succeeding on their own. But this is the same person. So yes, absolutely can. Now, people have said that this is a parody account. That it's a parody account, that this person could not possibly be this extreme. That it's not possible. It's a right-wing troll. Okay? Well, if you believe that, if you believe that it is a right-wing troll, that this person who has a history of publishing some of the most egregious and disgusting, lies and misinformation, like this one right here, today's Supreme Court decision is a direct attack on black people. No black person will be able to succeed in a merit-based system. Now, you may think that that person is obviously a troll, but you know what? That's no longer certain. And that's the reality, because let's take a look at the Smithsonian, all right? The Smithsonian? Smithsonian, that's established. right? They have a page on the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and they have on this page the most racist, bigoted, ignorant, evil, detestable, vile pile of garbage I've ever read. This is evil right here. This entire page. It is filled with a sort of loathing. And here's the whole premise behind this. This is the pus, the ooze out of the scab that this represents. There are a bunch of people, a bunch of older white women and some white men, but usually older white women, that are putting forth this narrative because genuinely they believe that black people are inferior and can't do it themselves. But also, they think that it makes them a good person. And they think by doing this, that it's going to make them appear as a noble, benevolent person by spewing this type of hatred and ignorance. But understand that people like this, Robin DiAngelo and many others, they believe that white people are inherently superior to black people. That's what they believe. That's why it sounds so odd to other people when they hear them talk. They're like, this doesn't make sense. Something is wrong here. Your sixth sense kicks in. It goes, what they're saying is very weird. Why are they always focusing on white supremacy? It's because this term, this phrase, and the way they use it allows them to constantly remind black people that white people are better than them. That's what this is. Because the truth is that what is white dominant culture? Well, it's like, okay, who's the best boxer in the last 30 years, 40 years, 50 years? Most people would say Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson. Okay, you've got black men. This is part of American culture, by the way, not white dominant culture. Who's the best basketball player of all time? I think people would say Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's one of the best basketball players of all time. Kobe Bryant. You could say Yao Ming. He's a great basketball player. You could say Larry Bird. Perfectly fine. But then you go Shaquille O'Neal. Then you go Magic Johnson. You get my point. Golf. Who's one of the greatest golfers of all time? Well, Arnold Palmer. Well, I would say Tiger Woods. You know, you look at Dennis Rodman for the Bulls with Jordan, and it's like everywhere you look in predominant American culture, there are black people and people of other religions, of other countries. When I was growing up, the big argument was Sega or Nintendo. I don't know if you're aware, but Sega and Nintendo are not American companies, they're Japanese. Mario, Zelda, Sonic, all these games are Japanese games. When Sony entered into the video game market, Sony is a Japanese company. Final Fantasy VII being on Sony, that is a Japanese game. Video gaming is predominantly Japanese. American people buy it, but the best games, I would argue, are from Japan. So where on earth is this predominant white culture in America? It doesn't exist. Like maybe in like fishing shows or trucking shows or shows that have to do with, blue collar workers, then maybe you're like, okay, well, this is predominantly white culture. But the fact is, the most popular stuff in America that has been popular for years is not about color of skin or race. The Cosby Show was very popular. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters. You get my point. This sort of bigotry and ignorance, it's because these people on the left want more than anything to constantly tell black people that white people are better. That's what they want to do. But they can't just say that. Like, white people are better. You can't say that. It doesn't sound good. But you can write about white supremacy, and you can sort of condemn other white people, but not really. Like, what is white privilege? Well, white privilege doesn't exist. It's not a thing. It's never been a thing. Where you are privileged for the color of your skin because you're white. That's not a thing. It is not a fucking thing. I will say it 1,000 times. There were Irishmen and Italians coming to America, and it wasn't, hey, fellow white guy? Yeah, fellow white man. Let's get together. We're all white here. No. No. It was the Irish or Catholics need not apply. It was, Italian. If you, if you've got a family larger than 6 and you eat spaghetti, you need not apply. So this whole thing about whiteness, it's a myth. It's a delusion. It's something that people today use because they want to tell black people how much better they are than them. But they don't want the repercussions of, hey, you're a white supremacist. So they frame it in this way. But they are as racist as the KKK. They are as racist as any group that has ever come before. And it is disgusting to me how many websites like this that should be on the surface official, it's .edu. How many websites like this exist? And this is just pure fucking evil. This is racism, is what this is. Now, the coup de grace, the piece de resistance, is this right here. This comes from that same website. So, aspects and assumptions of whiteness and white culture in the United States. Keep in mind, this isn't from some Tumblrite. This is from this website. This is from the Smithsonian. White dominant culture, or whiteness, refers to the ways white people and their traditions, attitudes, and ways of life have been normalized over time. Which, why would you not normalize, because white people are evil, white people are bad. That's the whole thing about this. But just wait a moment till I tell you what they think is whiteness that is evil. Okay? Over time, and are now considered standard practices in the United States. And since white people still hold most of the institutional power in America, we have all internalized some aspect of white culture, including people of color. Rugged individualism. Let me repeat that. Rugged individualism. The individual is the primary unit. Self-reliance. Do not doubt me. Don't doubt me. At the end of the day, this is an official document from a group associated with the Smithsonian. These people are racist. They are hateful, bottom-feeding, low IQ, subhuman pieces of shit. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what you claim to represent. You are fucking evil. Rugged individualism, self-reliance, being an extraordinary individual, independence and autonomy are highly valued and rewarded. And they think that these are white people concepts that are evil. Family structure, the nuclear family. That's a white man, that's the white man's game. Father, mother, 2.3 children is the ideal social unit. Husband is breadwinner and head of the household. Wife is homemaker and subordinate to husband. Children have own rooms. Be independent. Where in that? You have to understand. When I call these people on the left racist, when I call them bigoted, intolerant, and as racist as the KKK, this entire thing is so that these people can pretend to be against whiteness and white culture and then take credit for things that are not. I mean, look, if you wanted to have a conversation about what race invented what and what race came up with what, sure. I don't think it's a worthwhile or productive conversation, but you can have it. You're like, well, white people invented this. Well, black people created the arts and different things in that regard. But the nuclear family? Emphasis on scientific methods. So this is basically calling people who are not white stupid. This is ridiculous. This is absurd. You mean to tell me you haven't gone to a doctor's office and there's somebody of Indian descent or somebody who's from China or Japan or a Korean country? I mean, what exactly is this meant to convey? Objective, rational, linear thinking. Now, I know that some of you are going to say, you doctored this. Oh no. Oh no. This is from the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I want you to understand that these people on the left are the most racist people you will ever meet. And they view black people as inferior, as less than. And this includes black people who are part of the Democrat Party. Because they've bought into this. Because, well, they get money, they get access, they get clout. They're literally willing to peddle this bullshit so that they can sell a couple books, get some money, move into neighborhoods that are, a little bit nicer. They're willing to peddle this shit, this garbage, in order to get that across. I mean, it's absolutely Protestant work ethic. Hard work is the key to success. That is part of white culture. I know that people think that I'm being hyperbolic. I know they think that I'm being a bit over the top. But I'm not. This is what these people believe. It is a white concept of work before play. If you didn't meet your goals, you didn't work hard enough. They're saying that is a white culture aspect. And white culture is bad, according to them, because they're a bunch of low IQ racists. Here's another one. Religion. Christianity is the norm. This is a Christian country, so that makes sense. Anything other than Judeo-Christian tradition is foreign. That's true. This is a Judeo-Christian country. So, yeah, that's true. No tolerance for no tolerance for deviation from single God concept, which is true of anywhere you go. I mean, this is not trust me, this is not a white culture thing. You go to a Muslim country, you go to a country like Israel, and you start, making fun of their religion, start talking about, other gods, pig, goat, creatures, whatever, you're not going to have a good time. Status, power, and authority. A wealth equals worth. God. Your job is who you are. Respect authority is apparently a white value. Heavy value on ownership of goods, space, and property. Hey, black people, did you know that you wanting to own your house, you wanting to own the things that you buy, protect your family, protect your values, even have a family. All of that is, we made that. We whites made that. I mean, are you. Holy shit. I mean, aesthetics based on European culture. Steak and potatoes, bland is best. Holy shit. Woman's beauty is based on blonde, thin Barbie. Well, blonde, thin women. I'd say big tits, nice hips. It doesn't really matter if they're blonde. It could be brunette. You know, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Man's attractiveness based on economic status, power, and intellect. Yeah, hey, whites, great job inventing that. It never would have existed without you. Holidays based on Christian religions. No. Based on white history and male leaders. Yeah, we're a predominantly white country, and we have been ever since our founding. It would be weird if we didn't. Justice. Based on English common law. I mean, okay, sure. Protect property and entitlements. Yeah, don't come onto my property trying to take my shit. By the way, that's true of anywhere. You think the fucking Zulus? You think in Africa the Zulus, you marched onto their property like, yeah, you know what? I want to take your shit. Do you think that they would be like, oh, okay, cool? Because we're not white, we don't mind. No, they shove a fucking spear up your ass. And I know that may seem like a joke, but no, actually, I remember from Shaka Zulu, they shoved the spear up that guy's ass and left him there. Competition, be number one. Win at all costs. Winner loser dichotomy. Action orientation. Master and control nature. Must always do something about a situation. Aggressiveness and extroversion. Decision making. Majority rules when white people have power. Are you paying attention yet? Holy shit. And if you wanted more evidence that this is a real document, here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why this is good is because it is a small win against this sort of filth that has become far too mainstream. This is hatred. This is evil. This is malice. This is a toxic miasma of shit. The people who write things like this, they're not the people you think they are. These are usually written by people like this. Older, unattractive, miserable, cuntish white women. And unfortunately, other people go along with it for various reasons. But as you read this stuff, it should make you livid that there are groups of people in America that are as racist today as the KKK was back in their day. This is vile. It's unacceptable. It's wrong. This sort of intolerance has no place in America. It has no place in this country. It should be defeated and it should be opposed with every breath that you take. The fact that you have people that are openly discriminating against black people and calling it justice is absurd. You openly discriminating against Asians and calling it justice is absurd as well. If you're a white student and you get points deducted, but a black student gets points added based on nothing but the color of their skin because a bunch of pathetic, loathsome, evil, demonic, subhuman, inferior piles of garbage read this vile crap and wanted to implement it, that's essentially what affirmative action is. Affirmative action is racism that they thought was okay. Discrimination that they thought was okay, and the Supreme Court said no. You don't get to do that. Now, of course, they will find a loophole. They will try to find some workaround, and hopefully they get sued again. And again, and again, and again. Until these racists in these institutions realize that their bigotry, their racism is not acceptable. Anyway, that will do it for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. This is a major win. Have a drink, celebrate, and I'll see you next time.